Okay, welcome back. We are live. All right. So we are back for another podcast episode. I do think this episode is going to be the most important episode that we're going to do. Why? Because I think it translates to pretty much every single aspect of health. And it is a tool that you can use in a variety of different circumstances. And I think really everyone can benefit from it. Now, goal setting is one of, I think, the hardest things to do in this type of work, because really a lot of it is going to be outside of the office when you're visiting with a practitioner, because a lot of the work has to be done outside of the office. We us practitioners, we are really guides on your health journey. So we can help point you in the right direction and give you steps along the way, and really help you kind of undercover or kind of be your investigator, so to speak, to find out what's going on. But a lot of these things take a while to fix. That's why the general rule is, if you've had something for 10 years, for every year you've had something chronically bothering you, it's going to take about a month of work. And that's obviously the right work to get to a point where you can get some benefit. So if you've had something for 10 years, generally speaking, it's going to take about 10 months to get to a point where you can heal through that process. So understanding how long this is going to take, understanding what the big picture is, but also setting up checkpoints along the way so you can, celebrate that progress and get to a point where, you can keep that motivation so you can keep going. There's always going to be days that are up and down. There's always going to be days that are not better than others, or real life gets in the way, or things don't go according to plan. That's just kind of life and how life works. So, we have to have a way that we could come up with goals, big and small, and we could break those big ones down into smaller checkpoints so that we can continue to propel and progress forward. So, how do we do this? Now, I did not come up with this. This is one of my favorite podcast episodes that we did, but it was coming up with SMART goals. Now, SMART is an acronym. It stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and then timing, or time based, or what is time sensitive. Putting a time marker on what you're doing. Now, we're going to go into each one of these, and then that's going to be it. This is something that I do with every single person that I work with, or I give them kind of a workflow to come up with these goals themselves, because this is how you individualize your care for person to person. It has to fit what they're doing in their lifestyle. So no treatment plan is going to be the same person to person, even if you get 10 people who come in with the same series of symptoms, because each one has a different lifestyle factors, has different social responsibilities, job responsibilities, family responsibilities, cultural differences. Everything down the list can be completely different. So we have to make it clear so that it can work, in your circumstance, in your life. Because if it works for someone and it doesn't work for you, at the end of the day, it's that's not going to be very helpful to you, is it? So, but this is also the point where, we have to have some of that responsibility from person to person, take that ownership, and then use it to build. So let's go into each of those, like I said. So let's go into this SMART method very quickly here. And it starts with, excuse me for a second, I lost my page. I have my notes on a page here. So, like I said, the 5 for the acronym: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and then time frame, time based. T stands for time, and we could do that a bunch of different ways. So let's start with the specific. So that goal, you need to get clear on what that goal is. Otherwise, if you don't have a clear goal, a clear endpoint, then you're going to lose focus. So you need to have something that you're working towards so you can be motivated to achieve it. Now, with this, there's the 5W questions that you want to answer to get to refine that. If you're looking for something specific, these are the questions you want to ask yourself. First, ask yourself, what do I want to accomplish? What is it I am trying to achieve? Why is this goal important to me? So why is it important to me? What is the motivating factor? Do I want to spend time with my grandkids? Do I want to continue to play sports? Do I want to feel better so I can be out in social situations? Whatever that why is, you have to identify that why, because that is going to be a key motivating factor. Who is involved? I can tell you from my experience, even the patients and clients I work with, it might be one person that's coming to me, but it no doubt will affect anyone that you live with, maybe potentially people you work with, social circles, close friends, people that you spend a lot of time with are might be affected. So it's important to keep that in mind, because that is going to play a key role in, is their input going to positively affect you or negatively affect you? And you have to kind of reassess. This is why, getting around and socializing with people who are going through a similar thing or who are open to helping you is really important. Where is it located? Do you have to go anywhere? Do you have to buy things? Is that going to take time out of your day? Are you going to have to travel? Or can you do all this from home? Because that's going to come into the time factor that we're going to get into later. And then also, which resources are at my disposal, or which resources do I need? This could be, a protocol from a practitioner, or maybe it's an investment into a new piece of equipment that could be useful, say like a water filter, or maybe a supplement regimen, or maybe it's organic food, getting more organic food or more fruits and vegetables. What resources do you need? This is going to include things like money. So budgeting becomes really important here. So that's the specific part. We want to get, what do I want to accomplish? Why is this important? Who is involved? Where is it located? Which resources are at my disposal, or which resources do I need? If you can answer those 5 questions, you can get a specific goal. Now we have to track how we're going to measure it. Now, goals have to be measurable, because this is how you track your progress. So you need some sort of quantifiable risk measurement that you can use to track progress. Really, really crucial. And it's going to help you stay focused, to help meet your deadlines, and more importantly, to help get you excited. If you have a number you can reach, or something quantifiable that you can use, it doesn't have to be weight, but it's important, because it's going to give you, something that you can look at day to day and be like, am I getting closer to it? Am I getting further away? Do I need to reassess? And how can I make improvements? So a measurable goal, quantifiable goal here is, you're going to have to ask yourself these questions: is how much, how many, or how much time will it take to accomplish? Now, how much it's going to depend on what the goal is. It could be how much time, like I mentioned, how many trips to the grocery stores, how much money, um, how much weight is the desired goal, how many episodes do I want to mitigate, have sleeping, how many do I want to, decrease by, um, how much reflux can I get rid of, or can I tolerate? These are all kind of questions that you have to come with. Is it 20%? Is it 40%? Is it 75%? Come up with a number, because it has to be measurable so you can kind of track it as you're going. Now, some quantitative measurements, like I said, they can include weight or BMI. Muscle mass is a good one. You could measure how many glasses of water you have per day, how many servings of fruits and vegetables. Maybe that's your goal. I want to get to 5 servings of fruits and vegetables. However you do that, you can track it, do it that way. I want to get to 2 to 3 servings of beans per day. That is a quantifiable goal. You can do it that way. You can measure blood pressure. You could measure the time you spend moving or exercising, or the hours you spend sleeping. All of these are quantifiable. So, you can do it by hours. You can add 15 minutes every other week. These are going to be really important measures that you can use to keep yourself motivated to get to that checkpoint, and then you keep moving forward. Now, qualitative measurements are really useful too, because they kind of give you more of the specifics as to what's going on. So this is why something like food journaling is really important. You can mark, say, how you feel, throughout the next few days. Food diaries are really useful tools as practitioners, because it allows you to get a deeper understanding of potentially what's going on, without maybe doing some sort of allergy or food sensitivity testing. food sensitivity testing is its own other, I think, talk we have to do, because many of those tests are not particularly accurate, or they change very often. So they're not super, super useful all the time. But it's really important to kind of keep that in mind. So that's what we have for the measurable component here. Now, the A, achievable. Obviously, if you want to be successful, you have to be able to achieve the goal. So this is where, you have to kind of be real with yourself, your situation. You have to create something that's realistic and attainable. So, it should stretch your, abilities. It should challenge you to some degree, but it has to still remain in the realm of possibility. Because if it is something that, is impossible or you can't get to right now, you don't want to be grasping for straws or get to a point where you're going to lose that motivation or feel dejected, or feel like, you can't do something. So while, yes, it's going to push you, there's going to be some level of discomfort. You don't want to make it something that's impossible. And remember, none of these are set in stone, so you can adjust as you go, but it needs to be achievable. So, if you're setting an achievable goal, you may be able to identify, something that was previously overlooked, or maybe some resources that can bring you closer to it. So, if questions you want to answer to is something achievable is, how can I accomplish it? Do you have a roadmap that makes sense to where you want to go? If you can identify at least what the roadmap is, then that's going to give you, a feeling of confidence. Can I get done? Can I get to where I want to get to? So, can I accomplish it? Do I understand the steps on the path? The second part of it, of course, is how realistic is it based on the amount of time? Now, we're going to get to time, but also financial factors. Is it something that, is money going to be a concern? Is it going to be, do you have to shuffle resources from other things? Maybe you don't need the new shiny car, but you can use, a very functional car, but something that, is not, killing you financially. Maybe you can put some of that food towards, more whole organic produce, or towards maybe certain supplements that you might need, or, you know, some of that, or, some of that money you're spending on alcohol towards, one of these other things, towards, time you could be spending sleeping. All of these things, it, these are kind of the part of the achievable part. And this is, again, a conversation you have to have with yourself. Is it something that you are willing to do and is realistically achievable for your lifestyle? The next part, the R, is relevance. So is something relevant? This step is about ensuring that your goal matters to you, and that it also aligns with other relevant goals. So we all need support and assistance. There is no health journey that happens that is a complete solo, job. That everyone has help along the way, but it's important to retain, control over your goals. In other words, no one's hijacking them or trying to get you to do something that you don't want to do. You have to maintain that this is something that you want. You want to make sure that your plans drive everyone forward, but that you're still responsible for achieving it. Ultimately, it's going to come down to it being our responsibility. We have to take ownership of that. So if a goal is relevant, you can answer yes to these questions. Does this goal seem worthwhile? Is it the right time? Now, generally, there's never going to be the perfect time, but is there a right time? Does this match our other efforts and needs? So are we putting the effort in we need to actually achieve this goal? Am I the right person for it? Am I in a space where I am ready to get there? And then I think the most important one for this is it applicable long term? Because this is the one that most people, I think, really kind of get hung up with. I see this a lot. Someone will be gung ho to do something for, a month or 2 months. And then it becomes too hard. And then there's one bad day or something like that. And then it becomes, a real issue. Then it becomes, oh man, I couldn't reach it this week. Now I'm going to get depressed. I didn't get to work out 5 times this week. I only got to 4. I'm not worth it. I'm not worthy, which are things we should never say. You have to give yourself that flexibility. Things come up, real life comes up. Can you bounce back and get back on it? And then finally, I think the most important one here is the T, which is timing. Now, it's great to have a specific goal. It's great to have a measurable, achievable, and relevant goal, but we need to attach a time frame to it to keep yourself honest. We all have that tendency to push to kick the can down the road. I am definitely guilty of this from time to time too. So putting deadlines in is a way to kind of keep you motivated. Now, that's not to say that we can't have forgiveness, that we can't, be lenient with ourselves, if we don't reach them, but it is important to keep a target date in mind. And then, we build on those goals going forward because it'll give you a little bit of sense of urgency that honestly, I think when it comes to making those long-term changes, we actually need to some degree is we need to have something to propel us forward. So in my opinion, we need to have a target date that we should have some sort of deadline to focus on or something to work towards. This is the part that's going to help prevent everyday tasks from taking a priority over your longer term goals. Because remember, this is a journey. This is not a sprint. So this is a long run, a long race here. So we have to be able to make this a priority day to day. And sometimes the monotony of the day to day gets ahead. Gets so having that goal, having a time frame set to your goal is really, really important. So, it's also crucial that we reframe questions in a way that allows them to fall in line with the other methods that we talked about here. So again, the SMAR, they have to be reframed in a way that the timeline for you makes sense. So for example, we could reframe this. So if I say, a goal is I want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months, try this. Like, I want to lose 10 pounds because I want to increase my energy levels and relieve some of my nagging joint pain. So now we have the why in there. We have something that's measurable. What can I do in blank in whatever time frame to help me reach that goal? So instead of going like I want to do this in 3 months, it's what can I do over the next few weeks to help me get to that goal in 3 months. So you're breaking it down into kind of subsections of goals to help you get to that point. Because remember, on average, it takes around 66 days to build a new habit. So you have to, and willpower is a finite resource. It's not something that we have unlimited access to. So we really have to just make it to a point where we can do something long enough that it becomes automatic. And on average, that takes 66 days, which is around 2 months. And if you think about that, like, I remember being told when I was growing up, it takes 21 days to build a new habit or 28 days or a month. On average, it takes at least twice that long, longer than that. So we have to reframe that and you give ourselves that grace and time to do it, but also be realistic with the work it's going to take. So when coming up with a time bound goal, you want to come up with something is when, what can I do today? What can I do 2 weeks from now? What can I do 2 months from now? What can I do 6 months to a year from now? So if you could answer those questions, and you could even have different goals for each one of those, but keeping those in mind, breaking those down at each level is going to be really important when it comes to reaching whatever that health marker, health goal is you want, because those things are going to be fluid, but we have to have check marks that are stamped by time somewhere so we can get to where we want to go. So that's the SMART method. It's something that's super useful. Like I said, I use this with all of my clients to help them come up with their own plans because that's really what this is. I'm the guide on their journey. Um, it has to fit in your lifestyle, and this is a good framework that I like using. Again, this is not something that I came up with, but it is something that I think is really useful for goal setting, and it's something that you could repeat, come back to, write down in your journal, and make a difference hopefully long term. And that's what this is about. Like I said, I think this is the most important video that's going to be on this channel because it's an actual framework that works. It's just a question of if we're going to use it. Okay. Thanks for tuning in. If you want, I am taking consults right now, so you can make a appointment with me. You could do that through my website, insideouthealthwellness.com, or you could reach out to me through DMs. I can be more than happy to set something up there. More new stuff coming to the website soon in terms of potential discounts too. So if that's something you're interested in, you can check that out. Much love. Have a wonderful Monday. I got a lot of work to do, so I'm looking forward to getting back to that. Have a great day. Peace.